Hi, everyone. This is Castle Searcy. Thank you for joining us with Film Talk Weekly. I'm your guest host. I'm with the Santa Fe International Film Festival, and today we have actor Benny Kaplan joining us. Welcome, Benny.
Thanks for having me, Castle.
Yeah. So, give us the basics: name, age, location, occupation. Any problems?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Benny Kaplan. I'm 46. I am based out of Denver, and I am an actor and also a realtor. But hoping to make acting my main profession at some point.
How did you get started? Like, when was the moment you knew you wanted to be an actor?
Um, it was the improv bug that caught me long before acting. To be honest, I never thought that much about acting. I did a couple of local performances in Denver, a style of performance called Pachaka Cha. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, very. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a Denver Pachaka Cha Society, and for the listeners that don't know, it's God, it's been so long. So it's a Japanese style of presentation, I believe, and you do a presentation that has 20 slides for 20 seconds each, and it can be about anything. And I was invited to do a couple of those in Denver, and really loved it. And from that, my wife signed me up as a birthday present for improv classes. Um, and so I did, went through 5 levels of improv classes in Denver, got to be on a couple house teams at local improv theaters. And really that I just love. And improv is actually still my favorite thing to do. But then a couple years later, looking for, actually, I wasn't looking for something different, but my wife saw how much I enjoyed the improv, and she then signed me up for acting classes in Denver. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it too. It's definitely a different art, memorizing scripts and putting time into crafting characters and things like that, as opposed to doing things on the fly. So that's how it all began.
And what's the acting scene like in Denver?
It's kind of slim pickings, honestly. They don't film a ton of stuff in Denver. They should do more. There's wonderful people here and creative people, great local film companies, and local festivals that are doing fantastic things. But we just don't get a lot of outside activity shooting here. So I have an agent in Denver, but most of what I get auditions for are local commercials.
Okay. And do you look outside of Denver as well?
I do. I've spent time living in LA, and have connections out there now, so I still watch for stuff, the casting networks there, although I don't have representation in LA. So yeah, honestly, I'm on all the different casting networks, and I'm always looking for possibilities to do different things.
And so you mentioned you're a realtor, a real estate agent, and like what, there must be acting involved in that as well.
Yeah, I think acting and improv, so much of it is listening, paying attention to other people, just being confident in what you say. So there's a lot of crossover. It's actually amazing when you go into improv and acting classes, how many people are there not to become actors, but really just to get more comfortable, whether it's in social situations or work situations. So yeah, it's absolutely helped in that regard. But like most actors, we all have, or the vast majority of us have other occupations that pay the bills or help pay the bills. I was fortunate in that I got into acting later in life and already had a well-established career. There's so many people trying to pursue the arts that don't have that foundation, so that's made things a lot more comfortable for me.
And ideally, would you only be an actor? Is that your
Yeah,
dream?
I think if I could make a living at it, that's definitely where my passion lies. I also write, so yes, if I could make my living acting, doing improv writing in a creative space, that would be my choice, 100%.
And what are some of the projects you've worked on so far?
Um, So when I was in LA, I did a couple of smaller films. I had guest spots on a true crime series. Um, to be honest, nothing super glamorous. Probably the most fun thing I did was an improv based TV series that I created. I was able to shoot a pilot with a local company in Denver. And that was probably the most fun for a couple of reasons. One, it was just the most engaging acting job I got. Two, it was seeing one of my own ideas come to life. And we're still working on fine tuning that and hopefully at some point packaging it and getting it sold. Every opportunity I get to act is great. It's different. There's so much to learn. Being newer to it, there's always a little bit of anxiety showing up on a set and who knows more than I do? And what if they say a word that I don't understand? And I think some of it is you just have to be confident and act like you know. And some of it too is not being afraid to ask because the truth is most people tend to be kind and receptive. So sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and show your inexperience and say, hey, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you please tell me what that means?
I think that would be the most intimidating thing is walking on with a bunch of seasoned actors and yeah.
Yeah, you always worry about that, and I think probably, I guess I'll know when I get there. But it seems to be the level of work that you're getting is commensurate with where you're at as an actor. So most of the jobs I've had, you find that people have similar limited experience that you do, but it's all over the board. There's people that you meet that have been doing theater for years and went to really prestigious drama programs and things like that. And yeah, I think you just have to dive in and learn everything you can. I've done acting classes and improv classes in LA, and I think you just have to be open to work your way up from the bottom and get involved in anything you can.
Where did you take classes in LA?
In LA, I did acting classes with the Beverly Hills Playhouse, which I highly recommend. I think it's a fantastic environment. And I also did improv with the Groundlings, which, again, back to improv. I mean, that was my favorite things. And the Groundlings is just such a magical environment, and there's so many unbelievably talented people there. Um, Highly recommend seeing their shows to anyone who, if you're in LA, if you just want to see top notch. I mean, it's every night they're putting on things that are Saturday Night Live quality, and it's really just a special place.
Would you ever do improv, or for those of us like improv and did I say improv stand up? Improv and stand up, seem like they're in the same world. Are they, or is that something you would explore?
I don't really see them as being in the same world, other than the fact that they're both live and they're both comedic. Stand-up comedy is very calculated and very rehearsed, and I love stand-up. I've never personally tried it. Improv, I think it's just such a raw and pure art form because you're just out there so naked, and you never know what's going to happen, and that's what I love about it. But it's tricky because the truth is, like, improv really lives on the stage. It doesn't, other than a couple of minor exceptions, it really doesn't translate to screen or television or anything like that. And frankly, because of it, there's really not a whole lot of money in improv. So most people that do improv, they do it for the love of it, and it really does. It makes you a better actor. Groundsling, the intro class at Groundlings, they used to say was the equivalent of an advanced acting class. You really need to study the craft, and there's so much to it, and it makes you a better actor. And I think that's why a lot of actors do it.
Can anyone sign up for the Groundlings? Can I sign up? Can we?
Yeah, so they have an intro class that anyone can sign up for, and then to get into what's called their core track. So you've got a beginner, intermediate, advanced to get into the core track, which could theoretically eventually lead to you being a groundling. You have to pass an audition. Um, it's the audition's tough. Even the first time I did the audition. I did not pass, and I think there were a couple of reasons for that. One, they do their auditions on Zoom, which improv over Zoom is just hard. Um, but every, as they tell you once you get into their system, like they have their own style of improv. Upright Citizens Brigade, like everyone has their own formula. So when you go into that audition, they're really looking for you to understand the grounding style. But yeah, I took the beginner class. Other than being a whole lot of fun, it really preps you for that audition. And then I got into the core track, which I did the first session of. I passed through beginner, and I'm hoping to take intermediate sometime in the near future. But they tell you, like, even the best of the best, the Melissa McCarthy's, like, they all, like, most of them repeat a level, whether they repeat basic, intermediate, advanced, and they actually encourage you to retry them. When they passed me into intermediate, they said, but there's no harm in taking basic again. The more you can soak up, the better. But yeah, anyone can do it, and it builds on itself. So once you get into it, I think it's just a whole lot of fun, and it's possible to advance through the ranks.
Any embarrassing stories you might have to share? Or
Um,
like where you were like, even like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Or do you get embarrassed?
I don't really get embarrassed. There's definitely uncomfortable moments, I think, just when you're first showing up on a set, and I think there's a level of anxiety, just like, where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? Yeah, I'm not really one to get embarrassed, which probably helps with acting and improv. Definitely. I mean,
Well, aren't we
improv is one of
lucky?
those Yeah,
Yeah.
improv's one of those things where, once you bomb on stage for the first time, embarrassment just kind of goes out the window. You just got to brush it off and keep going on. So yeah, nothing like that, I don't think.
Um, is there anything you're working on that you can tell us about, or anything you're auditioning for? Like, what do you like? What's in the works?
Working on, I get a lot of commercial auditions through my agent in Denver, so that tends to be the big thing. Personally, I'm trying to get that pilot that I made finished. I've also got a couple other scripts that I'm working on. A lot of it's for fun. I don't necessarily know that anything will become of them, but it's just good to keep active. I do have one thing that I've been cast in that it's kind of hard to explain. It's sort of an ongoing improv thing, but it's not on stage. I guess meta would be the word. It sort of exists in the real world, but I've signed. I'm not allowed
LARPing?
to. Not quite, um, but I'm actually not allowed to talk about the specifics because of NDAs. So I'm really excited about it. It's something that could be ongoing for a few years. Honestly, it's kind of a dream role if it pans out. Um, so, fingers crossed. In this business, you just never know. Things can come, go, fizzle out. One day you think something big's coming up and you're being cast in something, and the next day you never hear about it again. So, but I've done a couple shoots based on this project. It's on hold at the moment, but hopefully we're going to pick up soon, and that should be exciting.
Well, hopefully we'll get to hear about it one day. But
Absolutely. Once I can talk about it, you can bring me back on the show.
okay, we will. Well, I think I can say from all of us here, we admire you guys going after it and, suspending disbelief and, you know, keeping at it. So,
Thanks. Yeah, you got to keep things interesting, and if you love art, take a chance and pursue it because it's so rewarding in so many ways.
all right, everyone, thanks for joining us. This is Castle Searcy from Santa Fe International Film Festival here with Benny Kaplan, and this is Film Talk Weekly. We'll see you next week.